Okay, good afternoon, everybody who has joined for today's
Good
class.
afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. So let us start our today's session. Okay, right. The beauty of Python is, Python is a combination of three. Is my voice clear? I had some message
No,
that
sir.
your internet is unstable.
Breaking,
Is my
sir.
voice clear?
Taking sir, your
It's
voice.
breaking,
Sir,
sir.
it's
It's
lagging,
breaking.
Okay.
sir.
Okay, one second. One second. Yeah, now how is my voice?
It's
Yes,
good,
sir,
sir.
it's clear, sir.
Yes. Okay, fine. Let us do our best for this. Okay. Let me share this one. Because of sharing also, I think the buffer takes some time. Okay. Right. So for example, let me teach like this. Python is a mixed language actually. You cannot say Python is just object-oriented programming. When you talk about C++ and Java, you say they are object-oriented programmings, right? But I think they are not still object-oriented. C++ is anyway half object-oriented. This is not completely satisfying all the features. But when coming to Python, I always say it is also an object-oriented programming. The also in the sense that Python can be written in procedural language. Python can be written as a functional language. Python can be written as object-oriented programming language. It allows everything. I think before 1970s and during early 1970s, there was a speculation of object-oriented programming feature, and but still there was no need for the people to think about object orientation. The reason is, at that time there is no uses of object orientation. Just writing a program in some procedural language like C will actually do all the job. C was invented by Dennis Rich because he wants to implement Unix operating system. Imagine in 1970s, if you are designing an operating system, they are not like how you are doing and dealing with now. They are not like your Windows features, like completely graphical oriented and all the modern features. They are entirely like, very minimal type of features, because even the computers are also something like 8 MB or something. Yes, their RAM and all. They're not too much like how we use GB. That's why I heard a joke that when I'm seeing some video in YouTube, it says that an 8 MB of RAM or memory, something they're talking, has landed a man on moon. So a computer was implemented in 1960s and early 1970s to make a man land on moon. So that memory, when compared to this now, everybody has super powerful, memory and processing speed in your own hands with your iPhone and Android phones. And I had a joke in one of the comment in what we say in YouTube. They say that at 8 MB of RAM has landed a man on moon, but 2 GB of RAM or something like that is making a man land in PUBG. You see, in the sense that the processing speed and the memory power is slowly increasing actually. So I think in this case, at that time, building an operating system occupies few lines of code. It is very easy for you to just write a particular program in procedural oriented. Procedural means, you either implement the functions or you like to write the whole program in a single function. And so it's in a sequence of, executions. If you already had a touch with C programming, you will understand what is procedural, but it's not a topic of our. But for example, I can tell if you are writing the whole program in the global frame and you are not using any functions and any object orientation, then naturally I will call this as something like procedural oriented programming. It's like sequence of steps of instructions for executing something. But if you go for functional programming, you use lot of functions without any classes, objects or something. Only functions will be used and only functions are given importance in this. So you create some module like some .py file, and in that you create lot of functions and you call this .py as some module, and these are all kept in some packages. But Python also allows object orientation. If you take Java programming, even to create a main function, you need to create a class and call an object for it to activate that main function. So Java is actually completely bent towards object oriented programming. Right. You might be thinking, what is object oriented programming? Right. One thing, two important things in object-oriented programming are classes and objects. These are very important here. So one is classes. uh, Class and object. Then I got a question: what is class and what is object, and what is the difference between them? So if you had an idea about Java or C++, you might be learning it about what is class and object, but you are new to this. Let me explain one thing. Okay. Right. So our entire universe is of consisting of all classes. Why we say class? Because you take a daily life. We are actually the objects of a class called human, and we animals are divided into three classes mainly. One is reptile, the other one is mammal, the other one is the bird, something, right? So reptiles have some features which are equivalent, like they're crawling, they lay eggs or something like that. And humans and other mammals are all coming under the mammals class because they give milk and give direct birth to the next generations, and the birds will fly and lay eggs or something. So these are the differences between the living beings on this earth. And hence the living being, which is termed as a super class, is divided into three classes. That means a mammal, right? A bird, that means with wings, and a reptile which crawls. Mammals generally walk, birds fly, and reptiles crawl. And in mammals, we have been divided into different things, like one is human and the other one is animal. And in that human, again, we consist of men and women. And if I am a man, I will be an object of this class called men. If I am a woman, I will be the object of this class called woman. But both men and women belonging to a class called human, and human belongs to a class called mammal, and mammal belongs to a class called living beings. So, one interesting aspect is that in this world, we always see objects. Imagine this world as memory itself. That means in our memory also, according to the Python programming language, everything is considered as an object. That means which actually has an existence is called an object, which occupies some space to stay for some time is called an object. For example, I as Kranti is an object. The reason is I am an object occupying some space to live on this earth. Maybe we call this earth as memory, right? I am a data. I am called an object. So I am staying on this earth for some time, occupying some space to live on this earth. And after I go away, the entire space is removed and I become garbage. I become garbage at the time. Another person will occupy my space, right? This is what happening. The world people die, the new people are born. But everywhere, when I am born, somebody will say a new baby was born, which is human. How it is said? Because every class has attributes, that means properties and functionalities. The properties, in the sense, something like we humans have two legs, two hands, talking tongue. Maybe our tongue is different from the other tongues. That's the reason why we can talk and produce different sounds, right? And functionalities are like something walk, run, jump, play, something. There might be if you satisfy all the functions of some kind, and if you satisfy all properties of some kind, then you are belonging to that kind. I cannot show a dog and say the dog is a human, because you say how the dog is a human because it is walking on four legs, right? We say it has four legs, but humans walk on two legs because we have completely changed ourselves to walk on two legs. So dogs' property is different, but dogs also come under mammal, but they comes under animals, right? We are social animals, they are wild animals and domestic animals. Like that, we divide them. So what I say is, if you hear the example of Darwin, not only Darwin, in our ancient Indian times also, the complete animal system was divided. The beauty of this world is, though we say now it's a global village, earlier also it was like that. You know why? I heard a story that, there was an avatar of Vishnu, which is called Matsya Avatar. At the time, it is said that there was a big, pralayam, pralayam in the sense the end of the world, and the sea is occupying the lands. So God appeared to some rishis and said, "Please collect all the animals, one male and female, into a ship and make it ready and move towards safety. I will take you towards safety." And this is the same story I have heard in both Islam and Christianity also. I heard such thing. I hope I remember that. If anybody is from Christianity or Islam, you might have heard that story that in Arabia or something it happened. So I think the whole world goes in the same condition. So along with Darwin is such a modern theory. He has divided the entire world into classes, but also the ancient Indians and some other cultures also made it through. They have divided the entire population of all the living beings into different classes. Okay, so I'm saying all this because class and object concept is not new to programming. It is not new to humans. It is already existent. But the only thing that they have done is, why can't we apply this philosophy and concept towards this programming? The reason I will say, nowadays, your programming in 1998, maybe in Windows 98, there might be 20 million lines of code, maybe XP or 7 also. Remember, in this 20 million lines of code written by thousands of people, some value might have changed a little. Maybe something like a variable a's value is changed. Remember that earlier operating systems are actually written in C programming language. It's a sequence of instructions, that's all. There is no connection between functions and data. Generally, why I say there should be a connection between function and data. For example, I want to calculate area of circle. So area of circle. So I need two data, right? One is pi and next one is r to calculate something inside it, right? So this pi and r is called data. So that means this function is changing some data, right? For example, you are walking. How can I say you are walking? The reason is you are actually going to certain distance. So you're increasing or changing the data of your distance, right? So sometimes you have your health apps in your mobile or your phone, or your watch, right? So what these health apps will generally do, they will have a data called the distance covered per this day, right? Per day. So when you are walking, actually walking is a function done by you. This function actually modifies something called data. The data is, it can be anything like distance, your age. So when you are slowly growing up, growing up is also a functionality from your side, and naturally you are changing a data called age. So remember, in this world, whether it is real world or programming, functions always act upon data. So without data, there is no function. Without function, data is unnecessary. Even the data is there, without functionality, what we can do with the data, right? Everything remains with zero. If you take a car, if you are giving an acceleration, you are increasing your speed. Speed is a data. Initially, it might be at 0 kilometers per hour. Slowly, your speed will increase to 1, 2, 3, 4. That means you are changing the data called speed, but acceleration is called a function. Then they came up with the philosophy that in C programming, functions are given more importance when considering data. Data are left alone. All data are declared at the top and functions are written at the bottom. There might be 1,000 functions, and we don't know among these 1,000 functions which data is modified by which one. Yes, because there might be 1,000 functions, and around 100 functions are modifying a data called speed. Let us take this into consideration. And you don't know which of the 100 functions are doing it, right? Among 20 million lines of code, you need to check each function and its instructions, go through all those things to see where the speed data got corrupted. you know, one thing which happened, if you do 5 by 2 in Python, it might give you something like 2.5. But in C programming, if you do like this without typecasting, it will give you 2.0. See the difference between 2.5 and 2.0. When you are firing a gun and you are not aiming correctly towards the point of fire, and an inch difference is there here, it might shoot over this place, right? This much of difference is there within inches also. There was a European rocket called Ariane space program. Okay, this rocket is flying above the Earth, and at some point of time, it missed the trajectory. It is going like this and missed the trajectory like this. The reason for this is there is a small calculation mistake, and this data is changed by some function which is unknown. And due to this reason, I think it missed the trajectory. It is going in separate parabolic form. And you know, if it goes to the correct one, it will be launched into the outer orbit. Otherwise, it comes down and again hit the Earth. So in every rocket, we have something called bomb time bomber. This bomb actually checks whether the rocket is going in a perfect trajectory or not. If it is not going, it will blast in the middle air so that only pieces will fall on Earth. Instead, the whole rocket comes down. Okay. So this is all because of small data that has been changed by some function and due to some mathematical error in that function. So they took a lot of time to find where this happened. And you know, this is a very small calculation that happened that missed the trajectory as a whole. And they have lost around maybe 600 crore or 6,000 crore rupees just for one calculation mistake and error. And because they could not check where this mistake has happened and which one is modifying. So the entire thing was actually divided into few things. Then they came up with object orientation. What they have done is, if there is a data called speed, and if this speed is being modified by 500 functions, they have thought of why can't we bind the speed and all these 500 functions together, because if they're all acting on one data, they might all having the same functionality, that means same type of behavior, right? A different changes there. For example, if there is something like area of circle and finding the diameter, both needs are right. But you know, finding the diameter and finding the area of circle are both the functions which corresponds to some shape called circle. Do you agree or not? Am I audible? Nobody is talking.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. So a circle is something which is a shape for which we find out the area of circle, we calculate the area of circle, and we calculate the diameter of that circle. Then for both of these things, R is very important. To calculate the diameter, it should be R plus R, something like, or 2 or something, right? And for area of circle, it should be pi r square. This is what it gives you the answer. And now if you consider R as a data and these two functions are there, in C programming, they will be said as separate. The functions are separate, the data is separate, it is declared at the top, the functions are written at the bottom, and these two functions manipulate the data called R and its value or use its data. Then in object orientation, as I said this principle, these functions and the data belong to some concept called a circle, right? Then they named it as, why can't we make it as a called circle? And they have inserted the functions into it and the data that on which these functions act. Yeah, just a second. I had internet instability. If you say my voice is good, I will continue.
Yeah, sir, it's good.
Yeah, fine. So this is the way they have created the circle and the functions and the data, right? So one thing I can say is that the classes are important to put some functions and data as a package. So it's like a bag where you put the function, where you put the data, and you call this bag a name. Same thing happens, right? We humans has age, legs, hands, height. These are all the things that are there actually. When the age changes, at some point of time, the height also changes. At some point of time, our energy level changes. These are all the properties and the data we got as human, on which walking, playing, understanding, reading, these are all the things that acts, right? Other animals cannot read, but we can read. So reading is some of the function which is unique to the humans. So that is the reason we are combined. This is combined together and we are named as belonging to the class called human. And any object born on this earth, if it satisfies all the functions and all the data, is simply called human. So have you seen there are some people who cannot read, who cannot write, who cannot talk, who cannot listen, understand. So at those people, we sometimes say, in the earlier days, they never considered these people as humans. They are treated as inhumanly. They are treated as animals in the psychological hospitals. If you see the old stories during World War and all, the reason is using this Darwin's theorem, they have clearly divided that these are not humans. They are not animals, they are not humans, and they kept as middle. They are not useful to the society. That's what they termed as. But later on, the laws have been, the stringent laws have been removed, and they are also considered as humans. And nowadays, they're almost all getting a good treatment. But still, there are some differences in the society. Okay, come back to our session. So this is what we have, like, this is called class and object relationships. So in our programming, classes are something like a concept. Concept has no existence, right? I cannot say, hey, yeah, today I have met my friend called human. No, there is no friend called human, because human has no existence on this earth. Only objects have. So maybe Kranti is meeting Rajesh, Kranti is meeting Kiran or somebody. So every Rajesh or Kiran or Kranti are all objects, because we are the presence, we are the existence on this. So that is the reason why I called, if A is equal to 6, 6 is called object belonging to a class called integer, right? That is why when you say what is the type of 6, you will get something like the answer, class is nothing but integer. This is the answer you get, right? So in Python programming, you have no keyword called the data type. In C programming, we call integer as data type, float as data type, but here we call this as class itself and 6 as an object. So integer is a concept defining that if any object declared is said to be an integer, it has to satisfy few conditions. So 6 is said as an integer because it might be satisfying the integer's conditions. So 6 is present in our memory somewhere, right? And 6 is the real existence. So integer is a concept. So concept is always called a class, and the existence of that class is called an object. So A is nothing but referring to 6, that's all. If you say A is equal to 7, 7 is belonging to integer class, and A this time refers to 7. It's just a name referring, like Kranti referring to me. I am an object, a collection of organs, right? I am an existence on this earth. That's why in one movie, some comedy actor is there named MS Narayana. He asks somebody on in a film, "Who are you?" Then people will say their name. Then he says that is your name, but who are you? So when this question was asked to Adi Shankaracharya, he said, "I am the understanding, I am the listening, I am the heart, I am the kidney." He said that whatever in me is me. That's all. So in the sense that The 6 is an object, and me, I am an object, collection of organs, and some functionality and some data with me, like my height, weight, my age, my gender, everything. This is actually the properties I carry. I walk, I run, I teach, I read. These are my functions. Okay. So furthermore, you can divide it, the functions, men and women, and each man, what he is doing is a soldier or a teacher or so and so, and their properties, new functions will add, but they all satisfy the human functions, right? So names are something like the references that we are called upon. So I am an object, so I was named Kranti. So if anybody call me Kranti, I will just wake up. That's all, right? The same thing happens with A is equal to 6 also. 6 is existence. A is just named as 6. Name for 6. And when you call A, 6 will come out and say, yes, I am present. So this is what happening here. So it is the reason why Python considers even a function as an object. Okay. So you can create your own classes in Python. Let me see what are the things that are really there in object-oriented concepts in your object-oriented technique. One second. Yeah, these slides I have prepared for IBM training, so I'm using this. Right. We have encapsulation, which we can consider this as something like this. So if you call this encapsulation, you will have the binding of both the functions and the data on which these functions act. Polymorphism, in the sense you can have the same function in different classes. I will explain when we come to that, or otherwise we can skip it now. I want to just introduce to you what are classes, so it will be useful to you when you understand the functions, or sorry, packages and all. So polymorphism is something like, have you heard about polytechnic? So in the same technical college you have multiple branches, right? Mechanical, civil and all. That's the reason why we call polytechnic, why we call polyclinic, right? The poly, in the sense, it is a Greek word that existence. So it is of different forms. Maybe I have an add function with a comma b. Maybe I have the same add function with a comma b comma c. The function name is same, but its functionality might be different. It is adding two numbers, it is adding three numbers. Okay. This is what the polymorphism, and you can have the same function with the same attributes like this in different classes. If you have in class 1, this might be having in class 2, where you will understand it later. Okay. Now coming to inheritance. Inheritance is something very important. So if there is a class, and from there you are inheriting something. Have you just seen something like this, right? So I have told you about the living beings and all when we are discussing about it. One second. Where is that one? Yeah, you can see here in this one, this is called superclass. It is called sub superclass. It is called your class, and this is your you as an object, and it's also called something like subclass, and this might be called as class, and it is you, right? So these are all the classes in line. The mammals are getting from the living beings. Living beings might be something like they walk, they eat. These are all common to that, right? Birds eat, reptiles eat, mammals eat. Oh, let us take a function called eat. Why do you define eat many times in mammals, humans, and men or women? Instead of defining those functions again and again, there is a concept called reusability. I will explain you what is reusability. See, in simple terms that you will understand. Let me take into consideration your property. Maybe you have a very big dream that I want to be a crorepati. I want to get 10 crores in my life at least, right? So if this is your dream, maybe your father will come and say, why beta, why you need to have 10 crores? I have already, earned around 100 crores for you. Just sit and enjoy. This is called inheritance, simple inheritance, right? So from your father, you will inherit the property of 100 crores. And from you, your child will inherit your property if you at least give something to him. Or otherwise, you drink and have a habit of going to pubs and spend all the money. You might give him 100 rupees finally. This is the worst case, I think. So let us let us hope for the best case. You are giving 100, you just including the inheritance of 100 crores, you do some business and you added it to something like, and you are giving him 200 crores. I think this is how our ancient ancestors had lot of farmland, lot of money they used to have before this, the advent of Britishers and all, right? So this is what the inheritance, right? So you are inheriting, for example, we have a living being, right? We have a function called eat. This is being inherited by a new class called mammal. This is mammal. So mammal actually inherits eat from living being, and also it has something like give milk. The all the animals that can give milk is nothing but a mammal. And the next thing it comes like this. Next, it will be human. Human is the next class. So humans generally will have something like this. So it inherits eat from its living being class. It inherits give milk, right? And it inherits mm, talking. Talking is specially for humans, right? That's why I used these words, right? So this is what the inheritance, you inherit data, you inherit functions, and you inherit the whole set as a whole, right? So from living beings, mammals have some additional functionalities when compared to the other classes that are divided, like reptiles and birds. And mammals are divided into two things, like humans and animals. Humans and animals might be having different functions which are new to humans and new to animals. So we can have our set of own functions, but inheritance means we also derive from the above parent classes. This is called inheritance. So now you heard that a class is a combination of both packages and data. It's a group. And there are, if there are number of classes, you have inheritance, right? And you do this inheritance and you perform the reusability. That means once you define what is eating, you just use that eating to everybody, right? So you can use that eat function to reptiles, you can use that eat function to birds. So there is no need for you to define for each and every class. That's why the inheritance concept comes in, right? um, Okay, coming back, let us go to the start. Yeah, taking the example of a car, right? Car is a concept. So you can see this blueprint, which I am now highlighting now. This is called blueprint, right? This is called a concept. And I say whichever car that is agreeing with this concept and its functionality entirely is called belonging to this class. For example, we take this car model as Lamborghini. Lamborghini, some version 1. Let us take an example. So if some car like this car which is produced is belonging to this Lamborghini class, then it should accept. This is called object because this green color car is the real existence on this earth. It occupies some space to live, right? So this is a concept, doesn't need any space to live. It is only designed, right? Using this design concept, this car was produced. So this is called object, and this is called what we say, the concept class. Now let us discuss some things while class implementation itself, so that we dive into that and explain what is happening in the class. Let us take the example of the class called car. Okay, so you see how the classes are defined. Class, I will give a capital letter for all the classes. and I give object. Okay, I give object like this. I will tell you why I have written object. You only will tell me what is that. I can also declare like this actually. The class can be declared as like this. That's all. There is nothing else to be understandable here. Now, when you come to this class concept, I am defining car, right? So in this car, I have few variables to be understandable. One is, can you tell me what are the properties that car will have? Can anybody tell me?
Mileage.
Yes, mileage. Next,
Speed.
speed. Hmm. Next,
Distance traveled.
yes, distance traveled. Next, maybe color. Next,
Headlights.
um, okay. We come to more general things, like don't go deep into that headlights and all. More general things. So you will have a mileage. When you buy a car, what you will ask the people to tell, right? We have the mileage, we have the how much speed it will go, maximum speed, how much distance it can travel in its lifetime, the color. Okay, next, any other thing that you think about?
Cost.
Yes, cost, right? Tires, the number of tires, right? Number of tires.
How many people it can occupy.
Yes, people, that's all. Because these are the things that you will ask actually, how many tires it will be having. For example, even if you consider a motor vehicle like a lorry and all, you have many tire lorries, 4 tire lorries, and so, right? In cars we generally don't ask, but I consider tires also, because I want, maybe I can say tire type, maybe alloy wheels or something we say, right? Tire type instead of number of tires. I will say tire type. Or wheel or something. Okay, let us consider this. And I want to ask you, among these things, which are specific to an object and which are specific to class? Can you divide them? I am now buying I-10 grand, for example. I-10 grand, right? So can you divide them between them? So each I-10 grand car has its own identity number. So that is the reason why when you go for a registration of a car, there may be many I-10 grand cars which are silver in color, like what I have bought. Right? When I go to that registration office, they will pick up the bonnet and they look in the engine number. So each engine number is an identity for that object, like your ID of your object. So when I said A is equal to 6, and when I find ID of A or 6, right, it will give me some ID number. Like that, every car has its own identity number along with the registration number. Based on that only, they will couple between registration number and engine ID. Now tell me, among all the above, which are specific to class and which are specific to object? That should be divided.
Specific to car means mileage, speed.
Mileage, speed. Next.
Cost.
Car in the sense, are you talking about class? Class, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Cost. Somebody said cost. Yes.
Distance traveled also, sir.
I don't think distance traveled will be a class concept, because each car will travel some distance. Maybe I will roam around this many cities, so I might give 1 lakh in 5 years. Somebody will give something like only 20,000 kilometers in just 5 years, like that. So each car will have its own. Maybe shall we say people? because okay, don't think about India where you can push around 12 people in one car also, but I'm talking about the cars where the minimum amount of people that adjust in a car. So every item grand will give 5 people can be accommodated in that car. Okay, let us take object. So item grand is a class which is belonging to a class called car. Okay. So item grand is inheriting everything from car. Okay. So item grand is a class now, and let us talk about object side. So what are the things that are remain for object after we separated that?
Distance,
Color.
Color.
Yes,
color.
color, because each object has its own color. We can decide the distance traveled can be, and the tire type, because sometimes some people will take radial tires, and some people will take tube tires. Okay, there are two types right now, tubeless and tube tires. So this is all their interest. So I call these variables, remember that I call these variables as, yes, class variables, right? And keep a big V. These are called class variables, and I call these variables as instance variables. Instance is nothing but another name for an object. So for example, I say a simple story. A person has went to an ATM and has drawn some amount and came out. This is a general story I give. But if I give an instance story is nothing but we mention each and everything. So what I say, Kranti went to SBI ATM, has drawn around 5,000 rupees and came back. See here, I mentioned what is that ATM name, I mentioned who is that person, I mentioned what is that amount. This is called instance. So this is the real world existence. The above one is just a concept. I said person goes to ATM, draws some amount and come back. That is called a class type of thing. So now you need to remember that you need to divide the data which are specific to the classes and which are specific to the objects like this. Okay. So for example, if you take a circle, class called circle, the radius might be instance data, right? What about pi? Is it a class variable or instance variable?
Plus.
Yes, it is class, because for all the circles, pi value is 3.14, whatever it might be. But if you take a big circle, there might be okay. Sorry for the disturbance. Am I clear now? Again, the net is cut. That's why.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. I'll share it again. Okay. Now let's write a class called
Sir, it's
circle.
breaking
A
again, sir.
simple thing we will understand. We will do function. Yeah.
So your voice is breaking. Sir.
Yeah. Is it okay now? Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
Yes.
yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Right. So let us discuss about a class called circle. Okay. Let me right now. Class.
Sir, again it went, sir.
Okay. Okay, let us wait for 1 minute. It might get to its own path. Yeah. Now, how is my voice now? Still, it did not recover.
No,
No,
sir, it's
sir.
breaking,
No.
sir.
It's breaking, sir.
Just a second. I will just try to change if my 4G net is coming. Today, it also took some leave, I think. This 4G net is also not working properly. Let me check out if it works.
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬಲ್ಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮ್ಮ ఫ్లిప్కార్ట్లో నేర్చిస్తారు
ఏమైనా తక్కువ వస్తుంది ఇంకెప్పుడు ఇంకా
Now, how is it? Hello?
Sir, it's clear, sir.
Yeah, fine. That's good. Where are we? Yeah, let us create a class fast so that you will understand how we can create. I will just share the screen. Okay. So I want to create a circle. As I told you, I can also create like this, right? So I want to put some class variables. So my class variable pi is equal to 3.14. You can also import pi from math library. And I want my instance variables to be done. So for creating instance, I write init function. I will tell you what is the init. There is a large philosophy behind the classes. So today I'm just introducing to you what is a class. And if we are having the same section in the data structures also, then I want to continue with the class concept so that you will understand the remaining things. So you have self and radius. I will explain you each line why I have written this, and we can close now. And I also want to have a proposal for you that from next week onwards, from Monday to the end, that Friday or Saturday, I want to meet you daily 1 hour at least, including the classes, because I want to explain everything in clear. I don't want to just finish up the portion. I want to explain it. So please make every friend of you to join the class, not like today, like 56 members or something. So I want everybody to join the class if possible. Okay. Now,
Sir,
yeah, tell me.
so in the previous program, you were supposed to tell the reason why you included that object after defining the class. Like in parentheses, you wrote object and then
Yeah,
wrote this column.
that's what I will tell when we finish up inheritance. Okay. When
Okay,
we
sir.
finish inheritance, I will tell you why we have used that.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, okay, up to that, I will just keep this object here itself. So nobody will forget this one. This works like that. Okay. Now I will say self dot r is equal to r. And now I will define area of circle. And I want this also to be self. I'm giving self. I will explain why this is called self. And I will give something like, shall we just say, yes, that's correct. Only self is enough for this. Now our area will be return pi into r into r. That's all, pi r square. So next I will define diameter to be found out. Here also I will give only self because I have already given r. Return 2 into r. That's all. This is the class I have just defined now. Let me say that this is actually the concept, and let me put to you how you define an object. So for example, human is a class, right? I am born on this earth, and somebody said a new human has born. The same thing happens here. Why we do like this? So now let us say circle C1 is equal to circle of 5, maybe some units, centimeters or meters or kilometers. Okay. So I have defined like this. And now I want to calculate its area of circle. So I will print C1 dot area of circle. That's all, right? Once I have given C1's radius, the radius is kept here, right? And hence the area of circle will be calculated and returned to you. Now I want to ask you something. Have you ever seen this type of definition anywhere else in your Python programming until now? Can anybody reply? Have you ever made this type of situation ever in your programming until now?
When using def,
No. This 15th line, somewhere else you might have used this type of line. Okay. I will show you. Just understand if my zoom is visible. Is my zoom visible to you?
no, yes,
Okay. Now see, L is equal to list. S is equal to set. D is equal to dict, right? And what is the other thing that we have? Okay, let us take these things. What are these things? Have you remembered these things? What is L, what is S, and what is D? Let us
data,
say list, and I want to say type of L belonging to the class called list. So I say S is equal to set and type of S belonging to the class called set. I think you have already encountered this type of statements, right? While creating list, you might have, for at least while creating set, you have used this, right? Have you understood? So now tell me, is there any resemblance between what you have done between this C1 is equal to circle and S is equal to set, which I have underlined?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Then what is
Yes,
this
sir.
set? Then what is this
A
set?
class,
Class. And what is this S?
object.
Object, an instance. And of course, in my view, that C1 or S there are not actually objects. They are reference to a area, which is called an object on the memory, in which we are actually doing all the operations on some data. So C1 is referring to an object area, which might be considered as an object of a class called circle, and we are doing all the operations on it. Let me execute this program and show you how it will be done.
Sir, the spelling is wrong, sir, for circle.
Circle. Okay.
15th line.
This I have given circle. SIRCLE. Okay. Thank you, Paul. Right, let us go with this. So initially, have you seen a class concept has been created, and it is said that there is an init function, there is an area of circle, there is a diameter, and there is pi value. Pi is also given as class. Have you ever seen that R is not defined in the class, right? Because pi in the fourth line is a class variable and it is common to all the objects. The pi is clearly defined in the class itself. It says that it is defined. For example, for all the humans, there are two legs. You can make this, two legs as a concept, as a, data in the class itself. There is no need for you to give it for Kranti separately. There is no need for you to give it for Rajesh or something separately. So all the variables that are really belonging to all the objects of the same class, they are common to all, then this can be turned as a class variable, right? Now let us come to, yes. Now have you seen after the C1 is declared, an initialization has done, right? This is the function called, have you seen here? When we come to the 15th line, before the 15th line, nothing has happened. When we come to the 15th line, after you click next, which function is initialized? I never called init, right? So I never called it like area of circle or something, but just I have created something like C1 is equal to circle of 5, but init function is called, and in which R is given as 5. That means 5 is coming to this R, and this R is given to self.R, and this is how it was done. You see here, it is pointing to a circle instance. So now our instance is nothing but C1. Let us go forward. Okay, so an instance was created with R with a value 5. So this R value is different for different instances. That's why it is created. Next you see here, and this time we are calling area of circle. Now area of circle is belonging to that instance. That's why it is still pointing to that instance. Now it uses this R5 value and calculates the area. You see, so what it does, what is the error we got? Pi is not, okay, I'm sorry. This is not this pi, it should be
Self.py.
self.py. Yes, that's correct. I will tell you why we use self. Again, we do the same thing, right? So what is this? R also. I'm sorry for all these things. Self dot. Of course, this will really help you to understand why this error comes and why we are changing it. Don't take my sorry, but take my explanation. That's all. So init, next we got area of circle. Yes, you got 78.5, which is the return value. That's all. Right? This is the end of the program with instance and all. You can also clear it using garbage value section. Let us go back. Anybody has got a doubt what is self? Anybody can explain what could be this self mean? Why it is giving me an error if I just write pi, if I just write R, and it is asking me to include self in it? Why? Anybody can explain this? I want you to give two explanations. One is what is init and what is self. Okay, if you anybody has any idea, at least what is self?
Sir, it's used to represent instance.
Yes, it is instance, correct. So let me explain one thing. Self means something that is belonging to the class. Okay, let me explain something. Uh, for example, you take this 15th line. So 15th line in which C1 is referring to an object, which is the object of a class called circle, right? So a memory will be created in which 5 will be placed in that particular object. Why we are writing self.r and self.py? Whenever you say self here, let us take into consideration. Here you are writing two parameters, right? But you haven't given anything here. Circle of 5, only one parameter you are giving. Now you might be thinking, sir, when this init is actually called, you have two parameters in it, right? You don't know what is init also. At this situation, you don't know what is init also. But I want to tell you, if for example, you just listen that, or if you call this circle, circle is a class, right? When you send 5, this init function is initialized and there are two parameters. Why you are giving only 5? Okay, let me tell you one thing. Let me try like this. If I can do it like this, C1 comma 5, let me do it. If it really exists, then you will understand. Yeah, it is not giving. C1 is not defined, right? Let me come back. C1 is equal to. Now you try to understand this one. The self is nothing but it is at this particular instance, it is C1. Understand this clearly. The reason I am telling it is that when you are talking about your book, okay, somebody has okay, let us take this R as some book. Okay, you are entering into your home and some of your friend has given you a new book, and when it came to your handover and you can write something in that book, you will call it as my book, right? It's my book. So that is the reason when I said C1 is equal to circle. Now C1 enters into the circle concept, and everywhere you need to imagine the self is nothing but C1. Okay. So what this R means, this R is an outside R. Now this is the one. You are passing 5 to R. Now just see that 5 is replaced with R and self is replaced with C1. You need to imagine like this. Now what you want to do, you want to do it like this. Let us create some variable called R for C1 in which the R value, which is 5, should be replaced. So like this you need to imagine. So C1 dot R is given 5. Whenever I call this one C1 dot area of circle, so this self will become C1, right? So the instance is telling that at present this area of circle function is mine. So it will say C1. This self will again become C1 dot py. So this self will become C1 dot R. This is also C1 dot R. Now you see, of course, whatever functions that are defined, this pi will always be common to all those things, right? So at this moment, this pi will become a part of C1. This R anyway we have defined, right? C1 dot R is 5 we have defined. And this also, here it is not 2 into R, it should be self dot R, because at this instance it is C1 dot R. So 2 into C1 dot R will give you the diameter of the C1 circle. Okay, let me define another instance so that you will understand it. Okay, right, I think everything is fine now. Let me write another instance for that. You have C2 is equal to, this is another circle of 10, and this time you are printing the area. If instead of print I will just give something like area of C2 is equal to C2 dot area of circle. This is how I am giving. And now I want to print this area of C2. That's all. So the same way, the above one also can be changed, but instead I have just printed it directly. But here I am assigning that return value to a variable and printing that variable. But in both the cases, there are two instances, right? So at first moment, when I said C1 is equal to circle, that means C1 is belonging to an instance, right? And remember how you are born actually. Without any work, are you born directly? You are not created, right? Some functionality has to do. So the functionality is like all the 9 months you are carried by your mother, right? And after that, during the delivery time also, she has a lot of pain to get you out. So getting you out is one functionality, carrying is another functionality. And after you are born on this earth, then you are an object on this particular earth. The same thing happens. When a human has to be born, it has to be born by human itself by initiating it, right? We are all initiated. Then only we are born on this earth as objects. The same thing happens here when you call this circle. When you call this circle, then initiation should be done. This is called constructor. Constructor is a function which actually produces the object for that class. So at this time, I have said the same example. Until there is some function, we are not born on this earth. The same thing happens here. That is why when we said C1 should be born on this memory as an object of this class called circle, some initiation function is done where the C1 is born with some memory in it, right? For example, this can be considered as, see, if your father is having 100 crores property, I think by the time you are born, you are already a property holder of 100 crores because you will inherit it. The same thing happens here. During initiation itself, we are giving some value to its memory, right? Then only we say some initiation is done for that object. You can also have no initiation, just you remove everything. By default, initiate will be always there. This is called the concept of construction. So the simple principle is, without any function or without any action, there will be no object created on this earth or no object created in the memory. So if you want to create it, you need to initialize. That means call the function of this class. This is the function of the class. Remaining functions are all defined by us, but this function is by default. Even if you remove it, init will be there, right? But without initiating anything. Let me tell you this example, if possible. If I do nothing here, if I mask it, all the lines, you will slowly understand. Don't think that you understand at present now. There is no need for you to worry also. You just understand what is the concept of classes. We will go in deep into the next semester, no problem. Okay, now I will read one, right? No initiations, nothing. So if you want to keep it cool, no initiations, you give it like pass. That's all. Okay. And right, I will remove this one also. Otherwise, it will give me some error. This also I will make it pass. Now let us execute this one. See what is happening in the memory. So have you seen a circle instance has been created, but because there is no memory, nothing is there. Next, you see a C2 will also be initiated. What it says, init takes one position. I have given some 10 here. I need to remove. Yes, visualize it. Okay, you see C1 is created. Next, C2 is also created, but no values are placed in it, right? So initiation is by default. That means an area has been created for your particular instance or an object. So if you remove this, if you might ask me, sir, if I remove this, what will happen? Yes, you can remove this and still it creates your instance or an object. You see, C1 and C2 have been created in the memory and they are pointed to by C1 and C2 both. I want to say that by default, even though you don't write init is a function which will be invoked. Init is a function which is already pre-written, but the pre-written looks like this, which is default, right? It only contains self. When you are calling C1 circle, at this moment, the initialization will be done with self as turned as C1 and everything will be initialized. Next in the 18th line, if you say C2 is equal to circle, the initialization will be done with C2 in the place of self. But by default, we always write it as self. If you have an idea about C++ or Java, the self is equivalent to the this pointer. This pointer, we call it there. But here we call this as self. And the beauty of Python is you can also change this name. I can also write this as, Kranti also. Okay. So instead of self, I can write this Kranti also. We can change the name. You can also try out if you are interested in later on. There is something that you need to do for changing that. And so I think you understood now. Now, if you want to initialize something, I want to give some value into it. So I kept 5 here. So what I do instead of this, I will receive 5 along with the C1 object reference. So instead of this, I will keep it as R. And I have written that self.r is equal to R. So I think in this case, both the values will be initialized. You see, now let us execute this one and see the visualization. So an instance is being invoked to create an instance for the class C1. You see, R is equal to 5 and C1 is pointing to that. And next it is giving C2. So you might ask me, sir, R, is it really necessary to be of the same value? This R is equal to this one. There is no need. For radius, you can also keep it as rad. That's all. And you just execute it. But still I say the radius which you are sending will be equivalent to my R in an object. So I will say it as self.r. Just execute this one. So next, you see that rad has been sent with 5 and now your R will be initialized with 5 itself. Have you seen? The rad is 5 and this 5 is given to the R of that particular instance. You see here, the C1 is pointing to that. And next, C2 will be given with R as 10. So I hope you have understood a little bit where what is called a class variable, what is called a self, and what is called initialization, and how do you initiate an object and how the classes are actually called. Is it okay up to now? Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Yes, I think fine, right? Now I want to tell you about inheritance actually. I don't think we can continue another concept which I need to explain it clearly, because then only you'll understand what is this object, why we mention here. Shall we sit tomorrow if you are free? What about your idea about that? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
right.
sir.
I think your friends might have told that already. There is a hackathon that was planned tomorrow between 2 to 4. All the professors who are going for Python have all sat together because it's under the hard orders of head of the department. It was decided that hackathon will be placed. So it is in the code check. You are already masters of code check up to now because you know how to copy and you know how to do it also. So fine, but it was compulsory that you need to attend the hackathon. The attendance will be marked and your report will be submitted to the head of the department because he want to see the progress of that. And he liked this website called Code Check. and every other class is also attending to answer these questions. So tomorrow you will all get personal emails to your, based on your previous submissions. I will take all your emails, and each person will get his own link. Okay. I have written a Python programming where I can send emails personally to everybody saying, dear so and so, and this is your link. So once you get the link, you click on it, and you can just answer that. I will also float you a form where you can fill it with unique ID and all. So please inform to all of your friends that tomorrow between 2 to 4 you need to write this hackathon, and it's compulsory. And after 4 we will meet for 1 hour to discuss about inheritance and also packages. Okay, and then we can go with the continuation of the syllabus. So until unless you know these two things, you cannot continue with the other things. That's why I want to discuss these things. Okay, I hope you understand our plan, right? Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
So what will be the syllabus for tomorrow's hackathon?
Yeah, syllabus in the sense, you have already practiced many of the things. For the other classes, it is new. So it is not too difficult for you all. The same exercises that we had in that. I'm not creating any new. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right then, thank you for your cooperation. Bye bye, everybody, for today. I don't want to make you sit here for lasting long. So I want to just cut this class today, and tomorrow we can continue. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you,
Bye
sir.
bye bye.